wanted to explain to you what the feeling of spiritual awakening is really like, and more importantly, express to you why the spiritually awakened mind is the next step in human potential and consciousness. And let's be honest for a moment. You have been drawn to this podcast for a reason. Now, you could be very interested in this subject. Maybe it's happening for you too. Or there's a part of you that knows that there is much more to this life than you can put your finger on. And you might not be sure what it is, but there's something there. The weird synchronicities and experiences and a sense of being part of something bigger than yourself. And you keep being drawn to resources like this podcast, as if there's a part of you pulling you instinctively to move away from the lures and distractions of the shallow material world. That is not making you any happier and have actually been stressing you out and leaving you feeling like there's something missing, a void, a feeling of emptiness that is craving to be filled. And just before I continue, I use the term spiritual awakening, though the term for some of you isn't going to resonate, and it may put you off because it seems a little woo-woo. But it's also referred to as an awakened mind, or I like to refer to it at times as the ultimate mindset, because it can liberate you from your limitations and set you free to create the life you truly want to live. Think about what's holding you back. The reality is, it's going to be a narrative, a story, a belief system inside your mind that's creating some form of obstacle for you. An awakened mind begins to see right through that. Welcome, by the way. My name is Paul Sheppard. You are listening to the Mindset Change podcast. And if you have not yet subscribed, please do, because I promise you, you really don't want to miss out on the content coming your way to help you explore and reach your full potential. So there I was back in January, watching TV, lovely, calm, relaxing evening, nothing special. I wasn't meditating. I wasn't doing any type of spiritual practice. One moment I was living life within the dream state, and then out of nowhere, I was awake, fully awake, and in a way that will change everything for me in this lifetime. So what was it like? It's like waking up out of a dream, out of the matrix, and remembering who you really are, what you are part of, and what you are truly capable of. It's like being a bird in a cage, suddenly able to jump through the door and out into the sky with the freedom to fly. The illusion of limitations suddenly gone, my identity no longer existing. The limitations I'd once believed in melted away, like ice retreating from the warm touch of the sun's golden fingers. And for me, time just stood still. There was a deep peace and love emanating from my physical being. But yet, I felt connected to everyone and everything at the same time. Whatever illusion I had been living in was now broken. It felt like coming home to God, the universe, consciousness, whatever you want to call it. Language tends to limit this, but I can assure you that I felt the presence of the universe as one with me, and it was alive. And in that moment, I just knew what I was. I wasn't sat there thinking, I am this, I am that. It was a complete experience with no actual language, but I'm going to do my best to describe it here. I am a consciousness, a timeless being of infinite possibilities that had an interesting case of mistaking identity, where I had believed my conditioned ego's version of me, Paul, and the stories and the limitations that ran as programs in the background, almost holding me, surrounding me in this physical reality as Paul. And suddenly that was gone. I'm no longer held back by these narratives. I can hear them almost like a muffled voice at times. And even if they do sound louder, there's a distance, a space between me and my ego, which is creating these narratives from its conditioned past. But I am not that ego. I am not that conditioning. I am not that past. I am what is observing that mind. And the most exciting thing about this is why I talk about human potential, is I live in a perpetual expanding state of potential and possibility, opportunities. And there's nothing that can stop me experiencing what I truly want. Let me repeat that again. There's nothing that can stop me experiencing what I truly want, which would be very different to experiencing what I think I want, what my mind, my ego wants to experience, maybe for a form of self-validation, to increase self-worth, etc. They are very much two different things. Now, I recently interviewed Dr. Jose Corosmer, and in his amazing book, Breakthrough, Master Your Default Mode and Thrive, it was very clear that my default mode network, which houses the ego, had quietened to the point where awakening happened. And they can replicate this in labs using psilocybin and other drugs, where the default mode network, which is a series of parts of the brain, quietens to the point where the awakened mind happens. And if you're wondering, mine was a completely natural experience based upon the compounding effect of the work that I've been doing on myself. Now, this feeling of awakening stayed with me in a fluctuating state, but very strongly for days, weeks, months, and is still here. Yes, it fluctuates. And what I mean by that is that my ego still has some old programs it's been running, and it's bringing them to my attention through trying to pull me back into the dream state, the matrix, so I can upgrade them. And here's an interesting thought about the Matrix. If you've seen the movie, Neo wakes up out of the Matrix and into reality. But one thing not talked enough about the film The Matrix and its metaphor about awakening is that Neo, or Keanu Reeves, wakes up out of the Matrix and into physical reality. But physical reality is still the dream state. There was more awakening to do. And that would have been a great direction for the film to go in. And often, spiritual or self-development folk talk about taking the blue pill or the red pill. And if you do take the red pill, waking up out of one dream state to go into another. The science around awakening is absolutely fascinating, which is why I encourage you, if you're skeptical, to take another look. After all, you are here. Maybe that part of you wants to set yourself free from continuing to build a life, modify your life from a limiting belief system, a dream state. After all, you can only modify it for so long, and it's rarely satisfied. Think about what you crave deep down inside. Focus, peace, freedom, and it's available to you through the present moment. Practicing mindfulness can really help you with that, and it becomes longer lasting through awakening. So since awakening, I've also looked at my past in a whole new way and could see how the universe was guiding me in this direction all this time. The original awakening experience I couldn't explain in my 20s that saved my life now made sense. I did not call it awakening. I wasn't sure what it was, but now I know. And the powerful moments of insight that came randomly throughout my life, which made me change direction, also make sense. And how they used to come when I was working deeply on myself, liberating myself from my old programs, triggered more insights, which created a momentum for me to move forward, a motivation. And the biggest realization, which makes me smile to this very day, is that awakening isn't just for spiritual people, religious folk, meditators, monks, gurus, which are often associated with awakening. I can assure you that besides meditating, I wasn't even classing myself as a spiritual person before the experience. I've been Christian, deeply spiritual, threw the baby out with the bathwater and went full-on atheist, and then through deep meditation began to sense there was something bigger than me out there. And you know what? I left it at that. There was a part of me that just didn't need to get caught up in the limitations from spiritual beliefs, touted as facts by egos wanting to create structure, to create safety through control. I just didn't want to be part of that. I've been burnt enough and was very happy to have an open mind that there's something out there and just to leave it at that. So spiritual awakening is for everyone. It's for you. What's magical about the universe is that you are listening to this in the only moment that exists in the universe. And you are hearing me telling you, you can wake up too. It's your rite of passage to break out of your matrix, the dream state gel, the limitations, and live a life in a perpetual state of potential, possibility, expansion. Life feels very different when you no longer identify with your mind the way you did before. Here's a little exercise that can help you discover something wonderful and miraculous about yourself, whether you believe in awakening or not. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you believe. Let's see what you experience. And just have an open mind for a moment into getting a glimpse of the truth of who you are. So if you can just relax for a moment and bring your full attention to the present, to the here and now, to the sound of my voice. And I'm going to ask you a question. And just to note, just to help you, the answer is in the experience you have before your mind tries to answer. Your mind may try to use logic to describe the experience, to use thinking. And I encourage you just to sense, if you can, what you experience before your mind jumps in. You ready? What am I before a thought tries to tell me what I am? What am I before a thought tries to tell me what I am? What happened? What did you experience before your mind jumped in? If you're not sure, let me ask you another question, just to expand on this even more for you. Who am I right now before the mind tries to tell me who I am? Who am I right now before the mind tries to tell me who I am? Now, you may have been aware and experienced a moment of emptiness, nothing, peace, stillness, before your mind tried to explain or analyze what happened, before your ego starts to add the details in of who it thinks you are. And that space, that awareness, that stillness is who you are. You're not your thoughts. You're not your feelings. You're not your mind. You are what is observing your mind. Think about it. When you're watching your thoughts, observing your feelings, what is that? What is that is observing your thoughts and feelings? Creates a little jolt. Oh yeah, who? What is it? And that stillness, that emptiness, that space is that unlimited consciousness, infinite impossibility and potential. That's just there. Now, Adyashanti wrote a beautiful book called Emptiness Dancing, which kind of describes beautifully that space for me, because there is like an empty feeling, but tinged with something that's dancing, moving. For me, it feels like possibility and potential. Maybe others describe it in another way, love, compassion, or something else. But again, language does limit it. I also want to thank Adyashanti for the questions I asked earlier. He inspired them, and I thought I'd share them. And I'm inspired to give you one more. And this is a question that millions of people have listened to me asking on social media. And it's from the spiritual teacher Eckhart Tolle. And all you got to do is just look inside your mind for a moment. And this question short circuits your default mode network, so you get to experience a bit of who you are. But that's a belief I have anyway. I think that's what's happening. And the question is this: as you look inside your mind, like a cat watching a mouse hole, ask yourself, I wonder what my next thought will be. And notice what happened for you for a moment as you looked within to see what your mind did next. And for most of you, it would have stopped completely. And from the hundreds of thousands of comments, it's quite clear a lot of you experienced peace and stillness and calm also. Now, it's said by many others besides myself that spiritual awakening, having an awakened mind, the ultimate mindset, is the next step, the next stage in human consciousness, development and potential. You can see the human race changing so fast, and human suffering, your suffering, eventually tires of trying to change your outside circumstances, a new house, a new car, new job, different holiday, different partner, that you hope will make you happy, that you hope will ease the tension, fill the void that you feel inside. The suffering will lead you inwards to explore what's really going on and discover who you really are, and to set yourself free from those limitations of your mind. And if you're thinking, I need help on this, do reach out. There will be some resources created in the next year towards people who really want to explore the subject of awakening. I coach mostly entrepreneurs, people who are making a big change in the world with the awakening mindset. and I have a small number of places left for this year. But keep listening to the podcast. This is a free resource to help you begin to look deeply within. Allow your subconscious mind, which is always listening, to guide you to the people and resources that will also continue to help you. I am just but one. And enjoy the experience of waking up. But do seek support, because waking up for some people isn't an easy experience, and it can actually be terrifying. I'll be going more into that in the very next episode. Hope this has helped you. Hope this has made sense in what I've experienced and what I'm experiencing, and what is open to you too, what is available to you. Do check out my meditations. They are a really wonderful way to help you calm down your default mode network so you can maybe experience a bit more of who you are. That's always a wonderful step to actually take. Thank you for spending your time and energy with me. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I look forward to connecting with you in the very next episode. Have a wonderful, peaceful, and present day.